Tower Heist is a 2011 heist comedy film directed by Brett Ratner and written by Ted Griffin and Jeff Nathanson, based on a story by Bill Collage, Adam Cooper and Griffin. It was released on November 2, 2011, in the United Kingdom, with a United States release following 2 days later. Tower Heist follows Josh Kovaks, Charlie Gibbs and Enrique Dev'reaux, employees of an exclusive apartment building who lose their pensions in the Ponzi scheme of Wall Street businessman Arthur Shaw. The group enlists the aid of criminal Slide, bankrupt businessman Mr. Fitzhugh and another employee of the apartment building, Odessa, to break into Shaw's apartment and steal back their money while avoiding the FBI agent in charge of his case, Claire Denham. Tower Heist began development as early as 2005, based on an idea by Murphy that would star himself and an all-black cast of comedians as a heist group who robbed Trump Plaza. As the script developed and changed into an Ocean's 11 Euro-style caper, Murphy left the project. Ratner continued to develop the idea into what would eventually become Tower Heist, with Murphy later rejoining the production. Filming took place entirely in New York City on a budget of $85 a million, with several buildings provided by Donald Trump used to represent the eponymous tower. The film's score was composed by Christoph Beck and released commercially on November 1, 2011. The film received mixed reviews with much of the praise going to the cast, including Broderick, Leoni and Stiller. However, Murphy was repeatedly singled out by critics as the star of the film, with critics feeling that he displayed a welcome return to the comedic style of his early career. Much of the criticism received by the film was focused on the plot, which was considered formulaic, rushed, dull, and laborious. The film earned almost $153 a million during its theatrical run. Prior to release, the film was involved in a controversy over plans by Universal Pictures to release it for home viewing on video on demand to 500,000 Comcast customers, only 3 weeks after its theatrical debut. Concern over the implementations harming ticket sales and inspiring further films to follow suit resulted in several theater chains' refusal to show the film at all if the plan went ahead, forcing Universal to abandon the idea. Plot: Josh Kovaks is the building manager of the Tower, a high-rise luxury apartment complex on Central Park West in New York City whose employees include concierge Charlie, who is expecting a child with Josh's sister. Enrique, a newly hired elevator operator. Lester, the doorman nearing retirement. Odessa, a Jamaican maid on a work visa. And receptionist Miss Iovenko, who furtively studies for her bar exam at work. One morning Josh sees what appears to be a kidnapping of tower tenant and wealthy businessman Arthur Shaw. Josh gives chase and almost catches him when he is clotheslined by FBI agent Claire Denham. Denham explains that Shaw was not being kidnapped, he was attempting to flee arrest, accused of running a Ponzi scheme. Josh tells the tower staff about Shaw's arrest and explains that he gave Shaw their pension fund to invest, and their money is gone. After learning that Lester attempted suicide by walking in front of a moving train after losing everything he had, Josh, Charlie and Enrique visit Shaw, under house arrest in his penthouse apartment, to tell him this. Shaw expresses condolences but appears insincere, and Josh, realizing his lack of concern for the tower staff when Shaw never even asks if Lester is alive or dead, responds by destroying the windows of a 1963 Ferrari 250 GT Lusso Shaw has on display in his apartment, which he claims previously belonged to Steve McQueen. The building's general manager is furious at Josh's actions and fires Josh, Charlie and Enrique. Josh meets Denham at a bar and she invites him to get drunk. As they drink she says Shaw must have had a cash safety net and suggests in jest that he find and steal it. Josh gathers Charlie, Enrique and former tower tenant Mr. Fitzhugh to draw up a plan to steal Shaw's money. When Charlie brings up the obvious drawback that they are not thieves, Josh enlists his neighbor and childhood playmate, a petty criminal named Slide, to help. Slide trains the team but realizes he cannot do the robbery because he does not know how to crack the safe in Shaw's apartment. They bring in Odessa, whose family in Jamaica ran a locksmith business. Later on, Charlie tells Josh he has been rehired as the tower's new manager, and warns Josh to stay away or he will have him arrested. Denham then tells Josh that a hearing for Shaw has been scheduled for Thanksgiving during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade to avoid publicity, and Shaw will go free. Josh and his team decide to break into Shaw's apartment during the parade. Slide then attempts to betray the team by reaching the safe first, having tricked Odessa into giving him lessons. However, the team manages to intercept him at Shaw's apartment, breaks down a false wall and finds Shaw's safe behind it. Odessa opens the safe but finds it empty. Slide and Fitzhugh struggle for Slide's gun. The gun goes off and a bullet hits the car, revealing gold underneath the Ferrari's paint. They realize Shaw invested his cash in gold, had the gold melted down and cast into car parts, and then assembled the car in his apartment where the gold would be hidden in plain sight. Josh finds a ledger of Shaw's illegal finances in the car's glove box. With the door too narrow to take the car out of the penthouse, they lower the car out the window into Fitzhugh's old apartment 6 floors below, which has had its windows removed and has a wider door due to it being remodeled, and then take it down to the lobby on top of an elevator. Just as they reach the lobby, Agent Denham and Shaw return, the Thanksgiving court date being another set-up, and take the same elevator back up. Denham sees Shaw's safe and informs him that he did not declare the safe on an inventory of items taken when he was arrested, which is a violation of the conditions of his bail. She has him remanded back into custody. Denham sees Lester using a stolen truck to try to escape from the building. She catches up to him, assuming he is fleeing with the Ferrari, but finds the truck empty. The FBI arrests him and Josh's other accomplices. She personally handcuffs Josh and privately congratulates him. As Josh is being questioned by the FBI, Miss Iavenko arrives, telling the FBI that she passed her bar exam 3 days ago and is acting as Josh's attorney. She shows them Shaw's ledger and tells them she will turn it over in exchange for everyone's freedom. The FBI accepts on the condition that Josh, being the primary conspirator, must serve a minimal 2-year sentence. The team retrieves the car from its hiding place in Shaw's rooftop pool and send various parts of the car to Tower employees to compensate for their lost pensions. As the movie ends, Shaw begins his life sentence and Josh is booked into jail, a satisfied smile slowly forming on his face. Cast: Ben Stiller as Josh Kovaks, the building manager. Stiller was paid $15 million for the role. Eddie Murphy as Slide, a petty crook whom Josh turns to for help. Murphy joined the cast on October 13, 2010, and also became a producer on the film. He was paid $7.5 million for his work. Casey Affleck as Charlie Gibbs, the building concierge and Josh's brother-in-law. Affleck wanted to participate in the film as he was interested in playing a comedy role, saying it sounded like a fun film to do. I wanted to do a comedy, and I thought this was an opportunity to try and be funny. Grazer felt that Affleck would be perfect for the role because of his deadpan timing. Alan Alda as Arthur Shaw, a Wall Street billionaire placed under house arrest for stealing $2 billion. On his character, Alda said Shaw is sometimes described as a Bernie Madoff-like character. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone has ever operated on this scale that Madoff did. And I don't know if what Shaw did technically qualifies as a Ponzi scheme. But in that Shaw was willing to steal money from people who really needed €1, who really couldn't afford to lose €1, and willing to take everything they had €1. Yes, he's in Bernie territory, with both feet. Ratner initially approached Robert Redford to play the role, being a fan of his work in the heist film The Hot Rock, but Redford turned him down. Matthew Broderick as Mr. Fitzhugh, a former Wall Street investor made bankrupt. Broderick joined the cast on October 26, 2010. Tar copywriter Leoni as Claire Denham, an FBI special agent assigned to Shaw's case. Leoni joined the cast on October 21, 2010. Leoni worked with FBI technical advisor Anne C. Began to prepare for her role. On her character and work with Began, Leoni said, "Agent Denham is your standard issue, ball-breaking FBI agent. She's certainly a very tough lady, and it's not my first waltz with this type of character. However, I was able to spend some time with Anne, a great technical advisor we had on set. She's got this steely gaze that is terrifying, but what's underneath that is a very interesting lady. Beyond the technical aspects of the job, she provided so much more for me to use. Michael P. ± as Enrique Dev'reaux, the elevator operator and the newest employee of the building staff. P. ± was cast on October 19, 2010. Gabourey Sidibe as Odessa Montero, a Jamaican-born maid threatened with deportation by Shaw's theft. To perform her character's Jamaican accent, Sidibe had 3 dialect coaches help her prepare and practiced with a friend of Jamaican heritage. Additionally, Sidibe worked with an actual safecracker to accurately portray breaking into locks. Sidibe was cast on October 19, 2010. Judd Hirsch plays Mr. Simon, the building general manager, and Stephen Henderson plays Lester, the tower's retiring doorman. Henderson was cast after the filmmakers saw his performance in August Wilson's Fences on Broadway. The cast is rounded out by Nina Arianda as Miss Iovenko, attorney in training, Juan Carlos Hernandez as Manuel the security guard, Harry O'Reilly as FBI agent Donsk, Marcia Jean Kurtz as Rose, Peter Van Wagner as attorney Marty Klein, and Angstrom 1/2 ELJKO Ivank as FBI director Marzine. Jessica Saul plays Sasha Gibbs, Charlie's wife and Josh's sister. Heavy D has a cameo appearance as a guard at a courthouse. Model Kate Upton cameos as the mistress of a tower resident. Robert Downey Sr. has a cameo as Judge Ramos. Production, development. The idea for Tower Heist began development as early as 2005, when Murphy pitched a concept to producer Brian Grazer and Ratner concerning an all-star cast of black comedians including Chris Tucker, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, and Martin Lawrence, as a group of disgruntled employees who planned to rob Donald Trump and Trump Tower. The film was originally titled Trump Heist under this concept. A script was developed by Adam Cooper and Bill Collage, and over the course of the next 5 years, the script was rewritten by several writers including Russell Schwartz, Rawson Marshall Thurber, Ted Griffin, Leslie Dixon, Noah Baumbach, and Jeff Nathanson, with the bulk of the work and creditor going to Griffin and Nathanson. Rewrites of the script gradually moved away from the ensemble of comedians and began to focus on 2 central characters, at which point Murphy left the project. For Ratner, however, the modified script reminded him of the Ocean's 11 remake, a project he had developed but for which he was unavailable due to his commitment to directing Rush Hour 2. The project remained in development for a period of years, but Ratner remained committed to the project, having enjoyed the heist films of the 1970s including The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, The Hot Rock, and The Anderson Tapes, turning down the opportunity to direct other films such as Horrible Bosses, which he instead produced. Ratner would also claim that he wanted to work with Murphy, to whom Ratner partially credited for inspiring his Rush Hour films. As the script began to be finalized, Murphy was drawn back into the much-changed project after being informed of Stiller's participation, with Murphy being offered the role of Slide. Murphy rejoined as both a cast member and producer, alongside Grazer and Kim Rath. In later October 2010, the film was finally scheduled for release, being given a November 4, 2011, release date. Writing: feeling the original concept was too close to Ocean's 11, Ratner attempted to recruit Rush Hour screenwriter Nathanson to perform additional work on the Tower Heist script, but at that time Nathanson was unavailable. Ratner instead hired Griffin, a writer on the Ocean's 11 remake. Griffin brought the real motivation and the heart to the concept, moving away from the premise of performing an ensemble heist on a rich Donald Trump type, and focusing instead on a group of blue-collar employees who take on a corrupt, thieving Bernard Madoff-like businessman who has embezzled their pensions. Ratner enjoyed the pitch and brought it to Grazer, who gave his approval. After taking the script to Stiller and bringing him into the project, Ratner had Noah Baumbach perform specific rewrites for Stiller's character. Nathanson then came aboard the project and performed the final rewrites to Griffin's screenplay in October 2010, adding the obstacles, complexities and specificities of the characters. To help develop the script, the filmmakers and writers spoke with the resident managers of several high-profile New York hotels to learn of their experiences interacting with their clientele. This research gave Griffin the idea for Shaw's possessing a vehicle in his apartment, which Grazer and Ratner eventually decided would be a rare 1963 Ferrari 250 GT Lusso which once belonged to Steve McQueen. On his research, Nathanson said, "It was informative, to say the least, to speak with the people who work in these buildings. I interviewed everyone from doormen to housekeepers to building managers. There's a whole underworld to the New York building scene that exists in the basements that most people are unaware of. They make it all possible, and you just never see it. It's fascinating." Filming began on November 2010, taking place entirely in New York City on a budget of $85 million. Production designer Christy Z visited several upscale hotels and high-rise residences to research the design elements to incorporate into the opulent surroundings of the tower and Shaw's penthouse. Z created an amalgamation of the elements she saw during her research to create a sophisticated lobby design for the tower. For Shaw's penthouse, Z took inspiration from a top-floor apartment in the Trump International Hotel and Tower at Central Park West in Columbus Circle. Z populated the apartment with an assortment of art pieces to represent Shaw's status, based on specific artists and works that Ratner suggested. Z decided to use modern classic reproduction designs by artists such as Pablo Picasso, Francis Bacon, C. Twombly, and Andy Warhol. Explaining her decision, Z said, "These days, it seems wealthy people want to have wall power. They want to have art on their walls that means something and shows people, just like a car, that, I'm rich, I'm smart and I know what I'm doing." Donald Trump allowed the production to use several of his own properties to portray the luxurious locales, with the Trump International Hotel and Towers being used for exterior shots of the tower. Sections of the building were recreated on closed green screen sets for some of the film's visual effects. A foot and car chase sequence was filmed on Central Park West and Columbus Avenue. Some vehicle filming occurred on sound stages in Brooklyn. The burglary itself takes place during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, requiring the crew to film parts of the actual parade itself, and then recreate the event 1 week later for further filming. For Shaw's Ferrari, it was decided that purchasing an actual Model of which only 350 exist and would cost at least $1 million would be too expensive and the vehicle would be unsuitable for filming purposes. Instead, 2 replicas were commissioned, a process which took 3 months under the supervision of prop master Peter Gelfman. The replicas then received additional reinforcement for filming purposes from Steve Kirchhoff and the special effects crew. After running camera tests on several authentic Ferrari colors, it was decided to paint the replicas bright red in order to create a lasting impression instead of using the actual metallic brown muted coloring of McQueen's vehicle. Sidibe and Murphy performed the only improvised scene, in which they are cracking a safe together. Test screenings did not result in any scenes being cut from the film, with Ratner claiming that the theatrical version is his director's cut. However, he did remove scenes which he felt didn't fit, or did not match the PG-13 rating the filmmakers were targeting. In post-production, Universal decided to film a new scene for the ending that would feature a reunion between Stiller and Murphy's characters. Murphy, however, refused to return unless he were paid a further $500,000 on top of his $7.5 million salary. The studio declined to pay the additional money and the scene was not shot. Music. The soundtrack was composed by A Hangover's Christoph Beck. The Tower Heist original motion picture soundtrack was released on November 1, 2011, by Varese Saraband. It consists of 22 tracks with a runtime of 40 minutes. Release. The world premiere of Tower Heist took place on October 24, 2011, at the Ziegfeld Theatre in New York City. Box office. Tower Heist earned $78,046,570 in the United States and Canada, and a further $74,884,053 elsewhere, for a worldwide box office gross of $152,930,623. United States and Canada. Pre-release audience tracking in the United States indicated that the film had strong awareness among males of all ages, followed by older women. Universal Pictures projected opening takings of €25 30 million during the opening weekend aiming below expectations due to a slow market Peña with rival studios claiming that the film would need to make at least $30 million to be a success. In the United States and Canada, Téa Heist opened in 3,367 theaters. The film took $85,000 from midnight screenings and a total of $8.5 million opening Friday, becoming the #1 grossing film for the day. Although the film had been expected to be the #1 film for the weekend, it took $10.5 million on the opening Saturday, falling behind the animated film Puss in Boots. Téa Heist became the #2 film for the weekend with $24 million, behind Puss in Boots, with 70% of the audience being over the age of 25 the largest segment, 27%, being over 50 and 56% male. The opening audience was ethnically diverse consisting of 48% Caucasian, 21% African American, and 21% Hispanic. Markets elsewhere. Téa Heist was released on November 2, 2011, in the United Kingdom and opened in a total of 23 countries, including Germany, Spain, Hong Kong, and India, by November 4, 2011, at a total of 1,948 theaters. The opening weekend saw the film gross $9.5 million an average of $5,000 per theater with the largest earnings coming from the United Kingdom where it was the #3 film for the weekend, and Spain where it was the #2 film. Critical reception. The film received a mixed to positive reception from critics, garnering 68% approval from 175 critiques an average rating of 6.2 out of 10 on review aggregate website Rotten Tomatoes, whose consensus reads, Téa Heist is a true Brett Ratner joint, little brains to this caper, but it's fun fluff, exciting to watch, and showcases a welcome return to form for Eddie Murphy. Metacritic provides a score of 59 out of 100 from 39 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Cinema Score polls reported that the average grade moviegoers gave the film was a B on an A+ to F scale. Tim Robbie of the Daily Telegraph called the film a tolerably enjoyable Brett Ratner movie, labeling it brash, forgettable fun. However, Robbie criticized Ratner for having the mostly white characters require the aid of a black character for the heist, saying it's a little embarrassing that they can't conceive of doing this without bailing a black criminal out of jail. But cultural sensitivity has never been Ratner's strong suit. The Hollywood Reporter's Todd McCarthy said that the film is snappy, well-cast and streetwise, but felt that it ignored the contemporary economic issues at its core. McCarthy said that Murphy's performance was a return to form as the rude, confrontational, raucous Murphy audiences have nearly forgotten after all the silly kid comedies and heavy makeup outings of recent years, and said that with his introduction the film's energy and amusement level kick up a few notches, but that the enjoyment ebbs during the actual break-in, in which Murphy becomes neutered. And the logistics of the heist become too far-fetched and laborious. New York's David Edelstein called it a shameless but exuberantly well-done caper comedy, and praised the performances of Stiller, Murphy and Leoni, saying Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy show off two of the best fastballs in comedy, and our copywriter Leon is best seen as an FBI agent drunk, both sloppy and blunt makes you wish she had more. Emmanuel Levy called Téa Heist a formulaic, haphazardly plotted action comedy, whose best asset is its strong ensemble. Levy said, "What makes the picture work is not its plot, which is overly familiar and utterly implausible, but the socio-psychological dynamics that prevail among the characters." Levy singled out Stiller as well cast, and Sidibe as having some of the picture's best lines, but gave individual praise to Murphy, saying that he dominates the second half of the picture, rendering a joyous performance that recalls his witty, charming, streetwise roles of the 1980s. Empire's Nick de Semlyen awarded the film 3 out of 5 stars, calling it fun and even stuff from Ratner, with a fairly dull opening act. Semlyen said it was a welcome return to form for Eddie Murphy, but was critical that he is sorely underused. Semlyen praised Alda, saying that it is his smam offensive that turns out to be the primary pleasure. The Village Voice's Nick Pinktaron said that the film deserves credit as a clean, well-turned job, fleet and funny and inconsequential, and appreciated the cast, praising Leoni as the best thing going, and Murphy's inspired contributions. However, Pinkerton was critical of the script, describing it as amateur as its crooks. The audience isn't even fully aware of who's in on the job when it kicks off, while other threads are left dangling. Roger Ebert awarded the film 2.5 out of 4, saying this isn't a great heist movie for a lot of reasons, beginning with the stupidity of its heist plan and the impossibility of these characters ever being successful at anything more complex than standing in line, but appreciated that the comedy did not go heavy on the excremental, the masturbatory and symphonies of four-letter words, calling it funny in an innocent screwball kind of way. Entertainment Weekly's Lisa Schwartzbaum called the film overblinged, eye-catching, and essentially tacky, and praised Murphy, saying, "When Murphy is on screen, his comedic vigor oozes the movie's energy level. But whenever Murphy wanders off, the movie's pulse rate drops." Tower Heist is in effect two movies, one belongs to Murphy, the other to the rest of the cast. Time Out London's Trevor Johnston said that though it's hard to get excited by this amiable potboiler, Tower Heist is so at home with its limitations it's equally hard to dislike, but criticized the finale, which might have been a bit more tense had we been able to take it remotely seriously. Conversely, Time Out New York's David Fear gave it 2 out of 5 stars, saying one nail-biting moment and some much-missed Murphy mouthiness won't keep you from feeling like you're the one being ripped off. The New Yorker's Anthony Lane criticized the plot, saying toss everything you can find, starting with roughly diced plots, into the blender, such appears to be the method behind Tower Heist. Lane called the characters unlikable people, but offered praise to Broderick, saying he underplays the character so well. Lane lamented that the notion of a theft from the Thai visa euro from those who are lapped in lofty, screw you wealth or a euro is a tempting one right now, but Tower Heist passes the buck. Variety's Peter Debruge was also critical, saying the film goes wonky on the way to the bank, due to its lackluster pacing and shortage of the qualities that typically earn stars Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy their paychecks a euro, namely, laughs. Debruge felt that the opening 40 minutes were a dull blue-collar drama populated entirely by stereotypes, and while the film picks up some much-needed momentum with the actual heist, the resolution feels rushed. However, Debruge echoed praise for Murphy, calling his performance a welcome return to the comic's irreverent, 80s-era persona, and lamenting his limited screen time. Video on demand boycott. On October 5, 2011, Universal Pictures announced the Tower Heist would be made available for home viewing via parent company Comcast's video on demand system 3 weeks after its theatrical debut at the rental cost of $59.99. The move was announced as a test case, to be conducted only in Atlanta and Portland. The move met with criticism from cinema chains over concern that the test and any further future implementation would impact ticket sales. The following day, Cinemark Theatres the third largest cinema chain in the United States threatened to not show the film at all if Universal proceeded with the test. On October 11, 2011, several independent theater chains, including Galaxy Theaters, Regency Theaters and Imagine Theaters, and small cinema houses representing approximately 50 screens across the country, also threatened not to play Tower Heist. The following day the chains were joined by 950-screen National Amusements Theatre chain. In response, Universal Pictures released a statement saying that they would no longer pursue the proposed test. Accolades. Tower Heist received 2 NAACP Image Award nominations, for Outstanding Motion Picture and Outstanding Actor in a Motion Picture for Murphy. Home media. Tower Heist was released on DVD and Blu-ray disc in the United States on February 21, 2012. The DVD and Blu-ray disc versions contain 2 alternate endings to the film, deleted and alternate scenes, a gag reel of mistakes made during filming, commentary on the film by Ratner, Griffin, Nathanson, and editor Mark Helfrich, and a behind-the-scenes film that details the development process of the film. The Blu-ray edition additionally contains film storyboards, 3 videos about the filmmaking process led by Ratner, and musical tracks from the film. References. External links: Tower Heist at Box Office Mojo, Tower Heist at the Internet Movie Database.